Are you philanthropic? Are you really wanting to help the community? Now, the asset we're going to be talking about right now may not be an asset that you even have, but here's what we know. Someone in your Facebook feed, your LinkedIn feed, your email list, your cell phone, somebody you know at church, someone who volunteers at the animal shelter, one of the companies you do business with. As a matter of fact, if you are a company, if you are a corporation and you want to have the biggest, baddest, boldest corporate social responsibility campaign ever, friends, this whole presentation is not going to take more than 15 minutes. So stay with us. If you are philanthropic, you deserve to know that there is a choice in how we help our nonprofit friends. Now, typically, they have their hand out for cash, and we get it. That's an easy give. But what we want to say is, it is smarter from a estate planning, tax planning perspective to give appreciated assets. And when all the risk and all the cumbersome time, talent, and treasure that's normally needed to liquidate these assets has been completely removed, it is easy to actually help the nonprofits you love and care about receive 6 times the normal growth that they only receive from cash. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to start with a 30-second story from news just this week. Let's watch.
And there's more evidence of a new development in West Homewood. The Scott Dawson Evangelistic Association is moving into this former bank training center on Wildwood Parkway and plans to launch a new training center for youth and worship pastors.
But we can open it up to other organizations that are like-minded, and we believe it could be a collaboration center, an incubator, if you will, for ministries that could be launched. We don't want this to be a parking lot. We want it to be a launching pad for ministries to be able to work together, to partner together.
Now, that property was donated to the ministry by the complex's former owners, and this new training center will open in early October.
Now, here's what I want you to hear. Right at the end of that, she said, this property was donated. That's right. Multi-million-dollar piece of property was donated. And don't worry, you don't have to have a need for a giant office building. You just have to have the need for cash for your nonprofit, because ultimately that property that was donated in Birmingham, Alabama, worth multi-millions of dollars, could have funded a church you love in Florida, a veteran group that you care about in California. It could fund a library or a university or a homeless shelter in New York City. You see, there is now an easy way to have real estate donated and have it facilitated so that no nonprofit that receives the money has to take on the risk. So this specific presentation, we do these charitable real estate 101 overviews for realtor perspective, for nonprofit perspective, for social responsibility campaigns, etc. This one is specifically for the donors, the people who donate real estate, or the people that would if they knew that they could. So here's what the property owners need to know. They can leave a legacy now. This is not about putting it in your will for when you pass away. That can happen as well. But we're talking about being able to get a tax deduction now and watch with your own eyes and heart and soul how the fruits of your labor are actually benefiting the people, the planet, the pets that you care about. So here's what you deserve to know. You can donate property from anywhere in the country, in some cases, anywhere in the world, any type. So we just saw an example of a huge commercial property. We have case studies and examples of single families, second homes, condos, ranches, even partial ownership in wineries and cattle ranches. And friends, the proceeds from this real estate can help any nonprofit, even the ones who have told you they don't take real estate, even the ones who don't know about this process. There's story after story of handing a check to a nonprofit like the Berkeley Humane Society, who had no idea about charitable gifting of real estate and got a check for over $400,000. So this can go to any nonprofit. And for the property owners, you deserve to know that you can get cash back out of the property. So the property does not need to be free and clear. It can have a mortgage on it as long as there is enough equity to make it worthwhile. Certainly can have a mortgage on it. Let's say that there is no mortgage, but maybe you want to recoup the investment from when you first purchased it. Maybe you'd like to get life insurance to replace the property so your kids are still getting an inheritance, but they didn't want that condo in the 55 and older community anyway. Doesn't matter why you want to pull cash out. You don't have to donate the full amount if you don't want to. Now, major tax benefits, and you certainly want to get with your CPA, your wealth managers, your attorneys to get that type of advice. We're just giving you the overall concept. You are able to write off the appraised value as the basis for your tax deduction. So lots of things at play there, but instead of writing off the sales price as the basis, you're actually writing off the appraised value. In a lot of cases, that makes a big difference, including the fact that you're writing off the commission. We get into this much more in detail in the master class, and I'm happy to send you here a free ticket to the master class. Just send me a message and let me know you'd like to come. Now, property donor, you are avoiding capital gains tax. So any amount of money that is donated from an appreciated asset, no capital gains tax. So this can be really big, and it's not like a 1031 exchange where you're avoiding capital gains, but you're staying in the investment business. This is more about completely relinquishing the need to pay capital gains at the end of your investing because you're donating the property. Now, obviously, estate planning, and you know what? You don't even need to know what nonprofit you want to give it to. You don't have to give it to one nonprofit. You could even put that money in a donor advised fund. We talk about that a little bit more at the master class as well, so that you can take that 50 or 100 or 500 or 5 million, 100,000, and put it in a donor advised fund, and then give the money out as you see fit for the rest of your life and leave it to your children to do their philanthropy out of. So make sure that you talk with your CPA and attorney, but have one of us on the call too, because they know the tax consequences, but they don't know how we do it. So there are 3 ways that a property owner can benefit a nonprofit from the proceeds of real estate. Now, we're not getting into the minutia and the details of charitable remainder trust and things like that. We're just talking about the top concepts. And the first concept is, if that property owner were to sell the property, pay all their tax consequences, etc., and then give a check to the nonprofit world. And the fact is, it is the worst way to do this, because let's say it's $1 million condo, and let's say all that $1 million is capital gains, just for sake of conversation. There's a couple $100,000, $300,000 that could be going to the government for that. Let's not give it to the government. Let's give it to the nonprofit world. Let's give the donor the bigger bang for their philanthropic buck, as it were. Let's give them more to write off of their adjusted gross income. See, if they sell it themselves and then give a check, it's just the old fashioned way of doing it when we don't know any better. And unfortunately, this is a common theme. Well, we'll just go sell it and give a check to the church or the veteran group. But the problem is, it is the worst way for everyone involved. Now, the second way is if the donor gives the real estate directly to the nonprofit that they are wanting to benefit. And the problem with that is when there are mortgages to pay off, when there is cash to be given to the donor, if the donor wants to divvy it up amongst several nonprofits, see, these are all reasons why nonprofits are not only not asking for real estate, but they're turning it down. They don't want to deal with management and upkeep. They certainly don't want to come out of pocket. That building that we showed at the beginning, that building, as the story shows, was vacant for 4 years. And the management and the owner were taking care of cutting the grass, electricity, insurance, all these things. And the nonprofit that is given a property is now responsible for all that too. They just don't have the time, the talent, or the treasure. Even the nonprofit whose board I sit on, having written the book, I would never suggest to them that they actually take title. And frankly, 99.9% won't do it. And we wouldn't advise them to do it. It is the hardest way for them to take that property, and it's the hardest way for the donor, because now the donor, with the best of intentions, who just wants a tax write-off and just wants to help the nonprofit, now they're dealing with folks who have no idea how to handle a transaction like that. And even the nonprofits that do take real estate, usually they're limited to a local area. They're limited to mortgage-free or vacant property. And if they want to keep doing those themselves, that's fine. We're just saying, what about the other billions and billions of dollars worth of real estate around the country and in some cases around the world that they could also benefit from? So the third way is the way that we suggest. So if we don't want the donor to go sell it themselves and then give a check to the nonprofit, because that's the worst way, and if we know that 99% of nonprofits won't take title and really shouldn't because they're just not capable of handling it, the third way is when you have a third party who does this for a living and is the best in the best of the industry. So the team that we've put together comprises of a group like that who does this for Fidelity Charitables and Habitat for Humanity and a $5 million hotel in Naples, Florida last year, and all kinds of case studies that we have on our website. You see, when they take title to the property on behalf of any nonprofit in this country, that is why it is risk-free for any nonprofit that you love. That is why there is no money out of pocket to handle these transactions. On the back end, when it's all said and done, they keep a tiny piece to keep their doors open. And the fact is, if your nonprofit can get 90 or more % of an average of $600,000 donation or even a $10,000 donation, friends, that's more money than they would have gotten if they didn't know that this was possible. So there is capital available. If the property needs to be revamped or enhanced or held for a period of time, that building at the beginning of this video worth multiple millions of dollars, that property would take months, if not years. It is big commercial, lots of due diligence, etc. And if a nonprofit were to take that on, somebody's got to pay tens of thousands of dollars out of pocket holding costs for that bad boy. And the fact is, average nonprofit will not do it. Now, once again, the property, the way that we do it, does not have to be free and clear. It can have a mortgage or other encumbrances. The donor does not have to donate the full amount. As long as there's enough equity at the end of the transaction to make it worthwhile for the nonprofit world, they can pull all the cash out that they want. Keep it in mind, they're going to pay taxes on whatever they pull. The donor gets all the tax benefits immediately. So instead of waiting a year for a commercial building to sell and then getting the tax benefit, no, they get it the day they donate it, along with any cash that they want. So imagine that they can, at this late stage of the year, get a tax write-off, even if the property doesn't sell until the next year. So the way that we suggest, the way that we put this together, the resources and relationships that are all coming together to make it risk-free and easy for everyone. This way, the nonprofit world receives the maximum donation. And 100% of nonprofits, if they are a nonprofit, which means a 501c3 or a 508 church, they qualify. They are eligible to have this kind of assistance. It is win-win-win for everyone involved. The donor gets their tax benefits and leave legacy. The nonprofit can 6 times the endowments and growth, most cases from the donors they already have. And the realtors are getting paid a full commission to list these gifts of real estate. So proceeds are distributed however the donor sees fit. So whether they want to give it to one nonprofit or multiple nonprofits, or if they want to put it in a donor advised fund, which we get into in the master class, we spend a couple hours really diving deep at the master class, getting all of your questions answered. And of course, we always want to suggest that you get your CPA, your tax accountant, your legal representation to give you counsel on this. And we invite you to invite them to sit in on the master class, not just for you, but for them, because when they are a charitable real estate specialist, when they see how this works, they can help dozens, hundreds, thousands more people and help their own business while helping the community. So this makes it fast and convenient and easy. Once again, the donor can, in most cases, be off the deed in 30 days or less. They can relinquish their property with no selling expenses other than paying for the appraisal, because anything that has a value of $5,000 or more and for you to be able to write it off, you have to have an appraisal. So you pay for that. The third, now here's something really interesting that I never would have considered, because for us at the Real Agents of Change, we're always thinking about cause marketing campaigns, how you can actually market and let people know about this. But there are people who need it to be hush hush. They need it to be confidential and discreet. What if you want to help your church and you've been sitting in the pew at the church for the last 20 years and you know everybody? Maybe you don't want those people to know your business. Maybe you don't want them to know that you had a second home in the Poconos or a strip mall in Detroit, or maybe that you own a percentage of a hospital in Miami. See, these can be done discreetly, and the money can be given to that church or any nonprofit without your name on it, if that's something that you want to do. Now, if you are wanting to find out if your property actually qualifies for this, you are more than welcome to fill out a property evaluation form here at this link on our website. We are providing these links, landing pages for the nonprofits that you care about. Friends, see, this is why I said, even if you don't have real estate, stay with us, because you can let your nonprofit know that they can add a second button on their website They've got a button that says donate now, and they can take cash. They can take credit cards and PayPal and Venmo through there. But what about a second button that opens them up to the opportunity to tap into the largest asset class in this country, which is real estate? Always has been, always will be the largest asset class. And we can help any nonprofit tap into that. My name is Cammie C.E. Baker. I am the author of Real Estate is Hot, Fundraising is Not. It would be my honor to have you as a guest at our master class. We do it live on the third Tuesday of the month from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern. Come sit in. Come see how you can be the hero in your community. Whether you donate the real estate or not, you can bring the idea. You can help us to put this out on social media, emails, in the news, just like that media story we saw in the beginning. Imagine if that was your nonprofit, your real estate company, your car dealership or insurance bureau that actually is part of the landing page that brought in a gift like that. Friends, that is corporate social responsibility at its best. And we at the Real Agents of Change have the strategy to make it happen. We look forward to seeing you the next time we do a presentation, or better yet, we look forward to seeing you on camera, handing a check to the nonprofits you care about.